Okay, I'm excited to introduce another of our partners, Monica Ozaruk with Ozaruk Consulting. And she's a ConnectWise specialist working with MSPs on operations. So welcome here, Monica.
Thank you, Wim. Pleasure to
Yeah,
be here.
excited to introduce you to our clients, our community.
Absolutely.
So let's just jump in a bit of background. So I guess you had a history in supply chain, ERPs, but what got you into the MSP world?
I mean, I think I fell into it and now it's got its claws on me and I can't leave it. I love it so much. But yeah, I come from an ERP background, which means I implemented large scale SAP projects before. So I'm used to big systems and I'm used to seeing systems that maybe don't work really effectively. 5 years ago, I started consulting, and my first client just happened to use ConnectWise. So I learned ConnectWise, and I learned all the things ConnectWise can do when used properly, and you can make the most of it. And so, yeah, from there, it's just been growing organically within the industry, working with clients and helping them clean up their ConnectWise implementation a lot of the time.
Yep. So what are some of the top things you see them doing wrong? Like what's messy with their ConnectWise?
Yeah, I think it's overcomplicating things a lot of the time or having confusion between different verticals. When you have one person, you've got a great ConnectWise system. As soon as you have five and you have an owner who's really busy and doesn't have time to train, all of a sudden people are using ConnectWise for different things. They don't understand where their job impacts the downstream effects.
Mm,
And that really leads to a lot of confusion and headaches. And I mean, coming from an operations background, I always feel badly for the finance people and the procurement people who have to clean everything up. So I'm always worried about the downstream effects.
yeah. So how does that sort of manufacturing ERP background help with MSPs? A lot of them have totally strange foreign to them, right?
It is, but I think lean manufacturing all comes down to creating value and eliminating waste. So, what are your wasted clicks? What are the wasted efforts? What are the wasted things that you're doing that's taking up your time in the system that isn't creating value for you as an employee or value to your customers? And as soon as you reduce waste and increase value, you're happy.
Yeah. But the value, not about the billable
Always.
hours and the utilization. It's
Yeah, and the value of your time in terms of feeling like you actually did something as opposed to feeling like you want to bash ConnectWise against a
mm,
wall.
yeah. So how much do you get into the weeds with your clients?
Pretty in the weeds. I think I get too in the weeds, honestly. I can't help myself. Whenever I see a problem, I have to understand the root cause of it.
Mm,
So I'll get in the weeds until I figure it out.
cool. I think there's huge need for that because again, there's different coaches, consultants have different approaches. Some are very high level and they say, okay, here's big picture what you need to do, um, and then let's talk in a week or 2 weeks. You're on your own, right?
Yeah.
But the weeds do matter.
I think so. And I think it's nice to have someone really hold your hand, especially if there has been confusion or frustration. Think about the human side of it too. If someone's already frustrated, they don't want to put more time into fixing something that they see as broken.
Yeah,
So maybe in the beginning, we do a little bit of a softer touch. We do a little bit more hand holding.
yeah. And then so we're talking about this a bit earlier. Like projects, for example, is like many MSPs come to us with pain on projects, but they're not using ConnectWise properly.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess how do you help? And just why do you think it is? Like it's a big part of their business, and yet they don't have a system for it.
I think because projects happens to MSPs
Mm,
versus something that they maybe, whatever I see with my MSPs is that they had a client where they were doing service tickets and then all of a sudden the client needs grew. So the project was a reaction as opposed to maybe going out and proactively saying, hey, we're going to look for big projects. Their first project was just a service ticket that got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden it's this unruly beast and they don't know what to do with it. So
yeah,
the first project tends to be a service ticket that we move over to the project board and that's where we start. But I think because it's in a different module, it's in a different place. A lot of times I have people who say, oh, the techs can't see project tickets. They don't know where they are. They can't find them. They don't work on the project tickets. And it's just that little bit of friction, which scares a lot of people internally. But projects are the best, obviously, for revenue recognition, especially
yeah.
too.
But a lot of companies, because they don't have the maturity around it, is end up not being as profitable as it could be, like leaving a lot of money on the table.
or getting the same amount of money but not realizing it as you're going through the life cycle of the project, right? So maybe they're not collecting down payments, or they're not clearing out their work in progress, or they're not using their deferred revenue against their actual. See, I'm getting in the weeds right now, and you got to pull me out of this, Lim. You got to tell me what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And
But
then
I think that there's a lot there.
So with clients that are adopting TopLeft and just visualizing their project and their service, again, they're growing. They got growing pains. Again, ConnectWise, it doesn't make it easy to see both. How do you help them navigate implementing TopLeft? Because there's things they need to do, right, to get maximum value. I think they can get value from, I believe they get value from day one with TopLeft. But how do you help them navigate that?
I think the most important thing with TopLeft is that every time I come into a client, I always start with cleanup and I say, hey, let's get rid of the dirty data that's in your system. TopLeft allows you to see that visually so easily, and it almost gamifies the cleanup. What I love about TopLeft is it makes the cleanup fun and rewarding, and it feels like you're actually getting through that backlog of old projects and abandoned tickets that have been in your system, versus me telling someone to clean up their system regularly just in ConnectWise without TopLeft's help. They might not do it. There's more friction. There's more perceived work there. So TopLeft from the beginning helps you get to a clean place exponentially faster than if you're doing it on your own.
Yep. Okay. And so kind of what to expect when a client engages with you in MSP. What does that first 90 days look like? What do you want to accomplish in 90 days?
Yeah, absolutely. It depends on how they engage with me. If we're going kind of for a full implementation, or if we're focusing on the project management module or on the procurement module. But of course, the first 30 days is always cleanup, especially if you've been running a system that has been running for 2, 5, 10 years and no one's ever looked at it. Let's get your system cleaned up. Then I provide a lot of Loom videos, training. I do so much to democratize that knowledge. It's not just about training you, the owner, on how to do something. Let's get everyone in who's going to be impacted, make sure finance is happy, because that's the way to go. And then the last 30 days is running through the actual projects, keeping an eye on things, making sure that you're in a run state so that you can move forward without those training wheels.
Yeah. So what do you mean by a run state?
I always talk about this. My newsletter is called Everyday Run State.
Okay.
And in production planning, in manufacturing, run state is when everything goes smoothly and there's no issues. Everything is calm and quiet. And that's what I want all my clients to achieve. I want the owners to think something's wrong because no one has bothered them for 10, 14 days. And I want it to be quiet, peaceful, and everyone knows their responsibilities and feels confident to do their jobs.
Okay. Perfect. So, if you want to connect with Monica, we'll have her information on our page here to link through to that on this the partners page of our website. So you can get to her schedule and get a call with her. So, any other closing thoughts there, Monica?
Not at all. I just love everything you guys are doing, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
Okay. Awesome. No, thank you. I'm grateful to have you as a partner here. So.